Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling one of those really classic questions you find in textual analysis. Specifically, we're looking at the Quran's account of creation.
Right, and this apparent, well, some call it a contradiction about the order. Earth first or heavens first.
Exactly. It's fascinating because the whole thing pivots on just a couple of Arabic words, really microscopic stuff.
Absolutely. It's a deep linguistic dive, but, it's crucial for understanding Islamic theology and also how critical scholars approach the text. This isn't a new debate either. For centuries, people have been working to reconcile these verses.
Okay, so let's lay out the problem clearly for everyone. What are the specific verses causing the headache?
Well, first you've got Surah al-Baqarah, that's chapter 2, verse 29, and it talks about God creating things for mankind. It says, it is He who created for you all that is on earth. And then, crucially, the Arabic is thumma. He turned to the heaven and fashioned it into 7 heavens.
Okay, so reading that plainly,
Yeah.
it sounds like earth first, then heavens. Simple enough, right?
Seems like it. But then you jump way over to Surah al-Nazi'at, chapter 79. Verses 27 to 30.
And this is where it gets tricky.
Exactly. This passage starts by talking about the creation of heaven. It asks, are you harder to create, or is the heaven which He constructed? It describes the heaven being raised, perfected. And then it says, and the earth, after that, bada dalika, He spread it out. The verb there is daha.
After that. So heaven first, then earth.
That's the apparent clash. You've got then in one place, after that in another, seemingly giving opposite order.
Earth, then heavens in Baqarah, heavens, then earth in Nazi'at. Okay, so our mission today is to unpack this. We need to look at the scholarly defenses, how believers reconcile this, and then the critical view that says, nope, it's a contradiction.
And hopefully we can find some common ground, a way for everyone listening, believer or not, to sort of frame this interpretive friction.
Let's start with the scholarly side, the theological reconciliation. How do they resolve this?
The core idea, really, the one you see again and again from both classical and modern scholars, is that it's not a contradiction because the verses aren't describing the exact same kind of event.
Okay, so not two conflicting timelines, but maybe different aspects of creation.
Precisely. They argue it's about different stages in a single, massive creation process. And the key, as you hinted earlier, is all in the verbs.
Right, the specific Arabic words used. Let's get technical.
Okay, so in that first verse, 2.29, when it talks about creating the earth, the verb is kalaka.
Kalaka. And that means
To create, to bring into existence, to originate. It refers to the initial act of creation, making the raw material, if you like.
Okay, initial creation. What about the second verse, 79.30, the one that says after that?
That's where the crucial difference lies. The verb there isn't kalaka, it's daha.
Daha. Okay, and that doesn't mean create.
No, not in the same sense of bringing something into being from nothing. Daha means things like to spread out, to extend, to prepare, even to make egg-shaped. Some commentators link it to an ostrich egg, the shape.
Huh. So spreading out, preparing, not initial creation.
Exactly. So the argument is, the Earth's initial matter, kalaka, was indeed created first. But the preparation of the Earth, making it habitable, spreading it out, daha, happened later, after the heavens were formed.
I see. So the potential contradiction dissolves if you accept this specific meaning of daha. It's describing a later action on an already existing Earth.
That's the core of the reconciliation.
But hang on, let me play skeptic for a moment. What about verse 2.29? It says, God created the earth, kalaka, thumma, then He turned to the heavens. That thumma sounds pretty sequential, pretty immediate. If He created the earth's matter, stage 1, but didn't finish it, and then went off to do the heavens, stage 2, why use then? Doesn't that imply the heavens followed right after the earth's creation? It seems to interrupt the neat 3-stage model.
That's a very sharp point, and it's exactly what classical grammarians and commentators spend a lot of time on, the meaning of thumma.
It's not always A, then immediately B.
According to many authorities on classical Arabic, no. Especially in elevated texts like the Quran. Thumma can indicate sequence, yes, but not always immediate or uninterrupted sequence. Sometimes it functions more like moreover, or furthermore, or just indicates a shift to another significant point or action that happened subsequently, even if there was a gap or another stage in between.
So it could mean He created the earth raw stuff, and then also, as another major act later on in the sequence, He fashioned the heavens.
Precisely. It allows for a pause, a break in the action concerning earth while God addressed the heavens. The sequence holds, but it's not necessarily contiguous.
Okay, if we accept that flexibility in thumma and the specific meaning of daha, then the harmonized timeline emerges. Can you walk us through those 3 stages again?
Sure. Stage 1. God creates the initial raw material, the basic globe or substance of the earth. That's the halakha in 2.29. This matter exists first.
Got it. Raw earth exists.
Stage 2. God then turns his attention to the cosmos. He forms and perfects the heavens, constructs them, orders them into the 7 heavens. This is the focus in Surah An-Nazi'at, verses 27-28.
Okay. Heavens formed.
Then, stage 3. After the heavens are constructed, Fa'atalika, God returns to the earth, which already exists but might be, say, geologically unstable or not ready for life. He performs the act of daha. He spreads it out, prepares it, makes it habitable. He brings forth water, pastures, sets the mountains, as the subsequent verses in 79 detail.
It's like building a house. You lay the foundation first, earth matter. Then you build the whole superstructure, the roof, the walls, heavens. And only after the main structure is up do you go back to finish the interior, landscaping, making it livable. Earth daha.
That's a good analogy. It makes sense of both sequences without seeing a clash, preserving the idea of a coherent, divinely ordered process.
And you mentioned modern scholars build on this?
Yes, figures like Dr. Zakir Naik sometimes try to link this sequence to scientific cosmology, perhaps Earth's core forms. Then the wider universe expands and orders itself. Then Earth's surface cools and becomes habitable. It's an interpretation, of course.
A scientific parallel.
Others, like Dr. Shabir Ali, focus more on the grammar. Emphasizing thumma can even suggest concurrent action, or simply mean moreover, potentially allowing earth and heaven's initial matter to be created simultaneously, with the daha phase definitely coming last.
Okay, that's a very thorough, intellectually satisfying defense from the theological perspective. It hangs together logically, given the linguistic premises. But now we have to put on a different hat. Let's turn to the critical analysis, the view you might get from secular textual critics or historians. They often see this differently, right?
Very differently. For many critics, this whole elaborate linguistic explanation differentiating kalaka and daha so precisely looks like, well, like ad hoc reasoning.
Ad hoc, meaning created after the fact specifically to solve this one problem.
Exactly. Post hoc rationalization. They'd invoke Occam's razor. The simplest explanation is usually the best. And the simplest reading, they argue, is a contradiction. Earth first in one place, heavens first in another.
So they'd argue that maybe in 7th century poetic Arabic, daha wasn't always used with such geological precision. It could just be another word for made or formed.
That's a key part of their argument. They'd say, look, in powerful rhetorical scripture, are we really meant to parse geological stages based on subtle verb choices? Or is it more likely the words are used slightly more loosely, synonymously?
They see the distinction as a convenience to uphold inerrancy rather than an inherent linguistic fact the original audience would have clearly understood.
Precisely. For the critic, the real reason the order changes isn't about a complex timeline. It's about rhetoric. It serves the purpose of the specific passage.
Ah, okay. So the context of each surah dictates the order. Explain that.
Okay, look at Surah Al-Baqarah 2.29 again. What's the overall theme there? It's about God's bounty to humankind, his provisions, setting rules for living. It's very human-focused.
Right. Created for you all that is on earth.
So rhetorically, it makes perfect sense to list the earth first. It grounds God's relationship with humanity in their immediate environment, the source of their sustenance. It emphasizes his direct provision for them.
Listing Earth first serves the human-centric message of bounty. Makes sense.
Now contrast that with Surah An-Nazi at 79.27. What's happening there? It's about God's immense power, the resurrection, challenging doubters who question God's ability to bring people back to life.
A very different context.
Yeah.
Power, not provision.
Totally different. So the passage asks, effectively, you doubt resurrection. Is creating you tiny humans harder? Or is creating the vast, immense heaven harder?
Ah, I see.
To maximize the impact, to create that sense of awe and overwhelming power, you obviously mentioned the most impressive, immense creation, first the heaven, then you mentioned the earth afterwards. It's for theological shock and awe, basically.
So the order isn't chronological, it's persuasive. It's chosen to fit the argument being made in each specific chapter.
That's the core critical explanation. It's driven by rhetoric, not necessarily a literal sequence of events.
This critical view also often brings in the historical context, doesn't it? Like the 7th century understanding of the cosmos.
Yes, critics often point out that these verses likely reflect the common cosmological picture of the time, maybe a geocentric view, a flat earth, heavens like a dome or canopy. They argue that the ambiguity, the need for these detailed reconciliations, might suggest the text reflects human perspectives, or perhaps incorporates different pre-existing traditions about creation, rather than presenting a single, scientifically precise, unified account.
They're reading it as powerful religious literature from a specific time and place, not necessarily as a divine science textbook needing perfect internal consistency on cosmology.
That sums it up well.
Okay, so we have these two really compelling but fundamentally opposed viewpoints. One starts with faith and inerrancy and uses linguistics to harmonize. The other starts with historical critical methods and sees rhetoric or maybe even contradiction.
And this brings us to the heart of the matter, what you call the hermeneutical problem.
Hermeneutics, the theory of interpretation. Basically, how we read determines what we find.
Exactly. There's no single answer that will satisfy everyone, because the conclusion you reach depends entirely on the assumptions you bring to the text before you even start reading.
If you assume it's divine and perfect, you must find a way to harmonize. And the Kalakadaha distinction works brilliantly. If you assume it's a historical document, you'll likely accept the rhetorical explanation or see a genuine tension.
The debate tells us as much about the readers and their interpretive frameworks as it does about the text itself.
So given that stalemate, is there any common ground? Any way for people from both perspectives to understand this issue without necessarily agreeing on the ultimate cause?
Yes, I think there are a couple of points of, let's say, mutual understanding, or at least mutually acceptable framework.
Okay, what's the first?
The most widely acceptable is probably the non-chronological rhetoric answer. Basically, both sides can generally agree that these verses probably weren't intended primarily as a literal step-by-step scientific timeline.
Right.
They can acknowledge the powerful theological goals, emphasizing God's mercy and provision in Baqarah by listing earth first, and emphasizing his immense power in Naziat by listing heaven first. You can appreciate the literary and theological artistry without insisting on strict chronology.
So focus on the why it's said in that order, the message, rather than the when, the sequence. That seems like a good middle ground.
It respects the text as profound literature, which both sides can agree on.
What's the second point of potential agreement?
It's related, it's the scope of description answer. Even if they disagree on the timing or the reason for the order, both sides can often agree that the passages might be describing creation on different scales or focusing on different phases.
How so?
Well, you could argue, for example, that 2.29, Baqarah, is focused on the creation of the earth as a system for humans, the biosphere, the immediate environment.
Okay, the human habitat.
Whereas 79.2730, Naziat, is focused on the grander cosmic scale, the creation of the heavens, the ordering of the solar system or the universe, the bigger picture. In that view, it makes sense that the wider cosmos, heavens, needed to be structured before the specific environment of Earth could be fully prepared or spread out, daha, for life.
So different zoom levels, almost. One focused on our home, the other on the whole neighborhood, the universe.
Sort of. It allows for appreciating both descriptions without forcing them into a single, simple timeline conflict. It acknowledges different focuses.
So wrapping this up, the believer's primary route is the two-stage model, based on the Kalakalahaha linguistic distinction.
Yes, that's the main scholarly reconciliation.
And the critic's primary route is the rhetorical purpose model, where context dictates the order for persuasive effect.
Correct. That's the main critical analysis.
And the deep dive really shows the debate isn't just about two verses, but about fundamental approaches to reading sacred texts.
Absolutely. And that, for me, is the most fascinating takeaway here. Forget just the answer about earth or heaven first. What this whole debate really illuminates is how we read, how we approach ancient texts held sacred. Does consistency come from intricate linguistic harmonization driven by a belief in perfection? Or does it come from understanding the historical context, the literary devices, the human elements involved?
Attention is key.
It really is. The ultimate meaning, the consistency people find, seems to depend less on the words themselves in isolation and more on the intellectual framework, the starting premise that the reader brings. And you see this tension playing out with foundational texts across all cultures and religions, Genesis, the Vedas, you name it.
A really profound point. It shifts the focus from just the text to us, the readers, and the assumptions we carry. So, for everyone listening, maybe the takeaway isn't a definitive timeline, but a question to reflect on. When you encounter apparent tensions or ambiguities in important texts, historical, religious, foundational, what's your go-to interpretive lens? Do you look for the subtle key that unlocks harmony, or do you look for the contextual reason behind the apparent difference? Something to think about.
Definitely food for thought.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.